What's up, Ballers? Today we have a quick deck profile video. It's Dark Broly and Paragus. This is going to be pretty close to what I brought to the Carta Magica Masters Division event, where I placed 5 out of about 120 people online. It was a webcam best of 1. I think Dark Broly is a really good best of 1 deck. You just kind of got to build for it. So anyways, the leaders, Dark Broly and Paragus, activate main once per turn. He can add up to 1 card from your life to your hand. Then you look at the top 5 cards from your deck, place up to 3 30k black battle cards in the drop area. The rest go to the bottom of your deck. So really important, the life taking is optional. You don't really want to do it every turn, but you kind of, I try and level it out so I awaken on turn 3. The big thing is it lets you naturally filter your deck. You want to throw some cards in that'll give your deck a shuffle, because likely all your good tech choices and super combos are going to be at the bottom of your deck after a few turns using the activate main. When he attacks, you can draw a card. That's really nice too. He awakens at 4 life or less and needs to draw 2. So the problem with Dark Broly and Paragus is because it's a draw 2, I like to be a little more defensive with my energy. I don't like to tap out because you can really get punished in this format for tapping out. So on the Awaken side, he has an activate main where he can place up to 3 black battle cards with 30,000 power from a warp to the drop area, then draw a card. So it lets you recycle some of the cards you've already placed from the drop to the warp. The activate battle is very interesting. You can choose 1 black battle card with 30,000 power in your hand or battle area and place it in its owner's drop area. Then this card gets 5,000 power for the battle. So the important thing is he can only boost himself, but that being said, you can use the activate battle on your cards that are in rest mode. So it means you never have dead cards on the field as long as they're the 30Ks, and it lets you get value out of the 0+0 combo cards in your hand. Because the real problem with the deck is it does run a lot of 0+0 combo cards. So let's go to the main engine of the deck, the Dark Broly engine. So we're running 4 of Broly Savage Rush. He's a 1-drop. It's a good turn 1 play. I'll usually only keep at turn 1 if I also have the red ball in my hand. His skills can't be negated. He can't attack, which sucks. A lot of the low-cost 30Ks in this deck can't attack, but it would be busted if he could. So the big thing is the activate main for 1 black energy. He can send 3 black battle cards. There's no power indicated here, so it can be any black battle cards from your drop to your warp. And once you do that, you can play him from the drop. So it's a really good, doesn't hurt your hand size play to keep recycling this guy from the drop. And the big thing about him is you use the red ball to pull out the rest of your Brolys, which are the blocker, the hand control 1, and then the super rare. For me, this engine, it's 4 of each mandatory in this deck. I've seen other people that don't run 4 of each, that run 2 or 3, or 3 of one, 3 of the other. Consistency is your best friend with this deck. You don't want to make it so you play this guy, you red ball to play a Dark Broly from the deck, and you're only running 3 of these. 2 of them are in your warp already and 1's in your life. So you can't play another hand warp and you have to play a different target. Or worst case scenario, you have no targets and you have to play something near your drop, which cannibalizes your own resource area. You have to remember your drop is your resource area and you don't want to cannibalize it. So all the Brolys have similar skills. Once per turn, you can play them from the drop area by activate main, warp 6 black battle cards from your drop area. They're unique, so you can only have 1 of each type, but you can still have 1 of each, but you can't have, for example, 2 of the blockers on board. The uncommon one's a blocker. It's, I think, really good in this format, especially with stuff like Red Broly BR, where you're going to want to be able to take some pressure off your leader. The rare one, Demon Realm Ravager, that warps a card from your opponent's hand, and then you get to choose a card in the drop area and warp it. Very, very good. 90% of the time, this is what you want to play first, because it helps control your opponent's hand size, and more importantly, it helps remove targets they might want from their drop area. So if your opponent has a Goku Ape or a Ribrian in there, you can get rid of it so they can't capitalize on that earlier. It's good. It's definitely something you really want to consider. Another important thing is if your opponent has 5 cards in the drop area, you can play this guy, Warp 1. Now they don't have Sparking anymore. You swing with it. They're going to want to get Sparking in order to stop your next attack, so they're going to have to combo, and they're likely going to take the hit anyway. The SR Dark Broly, he warps one of your opponent's battle cards, doesn't ignore barrier or anything like that. It's still pretty good. Lets you remove some blockers, or you can warp a piece of the red Broly chain if they haven't awakened yet. I mean, even if they have awakened, you can do it and just kind of hurt their hand size. But really good target. My order of preference is usually this. But it all depends on the matchup, and it all depends on what your opponent's playstyle is as well. So for me, it's 4 of these mandatory. They're all 30Ks, so they synergize with your leader skill. You want at least one of each in your drop area at all times, so that way you can kind of recycle them and go through the warp. For my super combo, I'm playing the Goku 0 plus 1000, or sorry, 0 plus 10K, and a lot of people are playing the Vegeta. Objectively, I'd say Vegeta's a better super combo. For me, I'm running a few red cards in the deck. I usually end up charging a red. The other thing is, this guy's an unconditional draw 1, so you don't need to bottom deck something. If you have a good hand and you don't want to bottom deck, or if it's a last card in your hand, you can combo with it and still draw. The other thing is, you don't have any combo power really with this leader. All the Broly cards are 0 plus 0s. This is an unconditional 0 plus 10. So if you get hit with a 15K crit double strike on the front side, you can combo with this even if you're at 5 life, and you'll avoid that critical double. I think for best of 1, to me, the Goku super combo is better in a wider variety of situations, but the bottom deck 1 draw 2 Vegeta is certainly really good as well. I wouldn't recommend the Bibbidi super combo in this deck. You could run it, but you want to get to 4 life pretty fast, usually by turn 3 for me, so I would definitely be running a 4 life super combo. The only other real advantage with this guy is if you're against a slow Stally deck and they play Fu Shrouded on you, there's no skill involved with the 10K, so it's not a dead 0 plus 0 card in your hand. 3 SS3 Tag Team Gohans. When one of your black cards removed by a skill, you can activate this card and it goes from your hand to the board. It's a blocker. You can only have one on. It's basically unique. You can only have one at a time. That's why I'm running 3 and not 4. A lot of skills. So your leader skill, for example, if I have this guy out, I'm awakened and I get attacked, I can activate battle, pop this, my leader gets 5K for the battle, and play one of these from my hand. It lets you have some cool extended plays. I really like this card. I think it's necessary for the deck to be competitive. You can definitely play the deck and have fun without it, but I wouldn't run the deck in a tournament setting unless I had at least 2 of the Tag Team Gohans in it. Whether it's a 15K for extra pressure if you get Violent raised with one of your battle cards, or whether it's just a blocker against VJX or Reboot Gohan, any aggro deck, I think you need at least 2 of these. I think 3 is the number. I feel like in a best of 3, I would side deck the 4th, but for best of 1, I would just run a 3. 1 of Mass Saiyan Brainwash No More. It's purely a tech card. It's an Overwhelm 6, and when you Overwhelm, you can put 3 black battle cards back into your drop area. So it's not terrible if you have to Overwhelm it because you don't have pressure, because it's a 30K. But more often than not, it's going to sit in your hand for the Activate Battle. For one specific black, if you have a black leader, you can discard this card from your hand during a battle and place 1 card from your life in the drop, and your leader card doesn't take damage. It's not always relevant, but when your opponent's slapping you with either a double strike or a triple strike or a Cell Xeno, it's really nice to let them do their thing. Hopefully they combo out their whole hand, and then you can activate battle, crit yourself a life, and you don't lose the game. So it's a good card. I had it at 2 of, and I felt like I either saw it too much or my opponent knew I would have it, so I'm only running a 1 of. I'd probably side the second one, but I think you only really need 1 in your main deck because Toa Dark Aura Deluge grabs it anyways, and it's more so the threat of having it than actually having it. Hopefully, if you have the black energy up, your opponent's going to be playing around this anyways, and they're not going to dump, and it's a good deterrent to stop your opponent from dumping. 2 SS4 Bardoks. I had this at 3 before, but I took the 3rd one out for the Mass Saiyan. I think it's a really good finisher. Dual attack, 30K, and you get to pick the cards from your opponent's hand that you can warp 2 cards when you overwhelm with it. 3 energy is really steep in this deck, but if you can snipe your opponent's Violent Rays or their Dormant Potential Unleash with it, or if they have a low hand size and this will bring them to nothing, it's definitely worth it. To me, it's a really great card because it's a 30k and it's a 0+5 in a deck where you really do need combo power. Because your front side, you basically have nothing and you don't want to be forced to take every hit that comes at you. My Mira package. So 2 Mira Creator Absorb, 1 Mira Assault from the Skies. I was running 2 Assault from the Skies and 1 Creator Absorb, but the Deflect that Creator Absorb has is really relevant. So if you're playing against a blue deck and they're tapped out or they have 1 life left or what have you, you can Overwhelm Mira, they can't Trunks it back to your hand. When this gets Trunks back to your hand, it really hurts because this guy's an Overwhelm 7. The other advantage is he's an Overwhelm 4. So you can use a Dark Broly skill, send most of your drop to the Warp, play this guy, and then swing with them, combo some cards to get back to 4 in the drop, and then Overwhelm. And 4 is a lot easier with this deck than 7. That being said, if you need early pressure, this is awesome because it's Overwhelm 1 energy, draw 1, and then it untaps 1, so it's basically free. And if you attack with them first, you can swing with your leader, activate battle, and put him in the drop. So it's only like he's costing you 6 cards. It's good. I've been counterplayed with it too many times for me to run more than 1. I think the 2 Mira is a good number as well. The Mira will steal you games. And speaking of stealing games, Meki Kabura, Broken Seal. It's busted. If I had room, if I could find room for another one, I'd run 3 in the main deck. 15k. This is it's a big brain card. You have to know the matchup. So, for example, against Red Gogeta, I've played this, said Gogeta 3 on my opponent's, before my opponent's turn 3, so I knew they couldn't slap me with the big 3-cost Gogeta, the big 5, or sorry. You play this, it's Gogeta BR5, and then your opponent can't spend 3 energy for the big Gogeta that evolves. Really good card. It has Deflect, so you're not stopping that skill. The Activate main lets you find a Dark Dragon Ball from your deck, add it to your hand. Dark Dragon Balls are really important with the Broly deck, so you're going to want to resolve that as much as you can too. Even if you don't have any Dark Dragon Balls in your deck, it's sometimes worth it for the shuffle. He's also a 15k and a 0+5 combo power. So if you get hit with Violent Rays, you can still threaten with this. He's combo power. He's something your opponent's going to want to remove from the board that takes pressure off your leader. I would run this at 2 to 3. In best of 3, I'd probably main deck 2 and side 2 more. It's really important against some matchups. Against the Mirror, it's really important. Against Invoker, you need to see it or you basically lose. So definitely run Meki Kabura at least at 2. My Toa package. So I've got 2 of the Dark Aura Deluge and 4 of the Union of Magic and Science. Dark Aura Deluge is really neat because it's Activate main, you pop one of your cards and grab a 30k from your drop area. She can pop herself, which is really important. You can use this if you want to grab back your Bardock, if you want to grab back your Miras. It's really relevant. I'm only running 2 because you really only ever need to see 1. And it's a 1-drop, so you can grab it back from Power Burst if it's in your drop or your warp area. Toa Union of Magic and Science, when you play her, you grab a red ball from the deck. And then she's got an Activate main for 1 black. She can add a dark ball from the drop area to your hand. And like I said before, these guys can't have their effects negated. They can't be attacked. You need the Dark Broly leader for these. They're really good. The Toa's a really solid turn 1 play. This is usually the only 30k I'll keep in my hand turn 1 or off my mulligan because you can get so much value out of it. It's really good to play against hand control decks or slower decks. You get 2 on board, you can spend 2 energy, and you're taking your 2 balls from the drop back to your hand every turn, so you can keep your hand size healthy. The Toa is really great. Like I said, they're both grabbable with Power Burst too. And obviously the 30Ks for your leader skill. A 7-star ball. I probably should have went over this earlier in the video in case people didn't know what it does. But it's a Dark Dragon Ball, searchable by Toa, searchable by Meki Kabura. It has an Activate battle. You can give one of your cards 5k for the battle. What's important is it's one of your cards. So this actually works on your leader, your unison, your battle cards, everything. Not like the 4-star ball, that's just the battle card or leader. The big skill is its activate main. You can choose a black Broly with an energy cost of 1 in your battle area, place it in the drop, play a dark Broly card from your deck or drop, then shuffle. So like I said, you usually want to play from the deck in order to keep your drop healthy. You don't want to cannibalize your own resources. It's really good with the Toa and the 1-drop Broly alone. You can just keep recycling them for basically 2 energy a turn. You can play him from the drop area, grab a ball back with her skill, and then play a 6-drop, which very, very strong. It really makes the deck go around. I've seen people run this at 2 or 3. To me, because I think Meki Kabura is so important and Toa is so important, 4 is absolutely the number. 2 double strikes. At first I tested 1, and then I really needed a 2nd in the deck because I just couldn't pressure fast enough. I honestly want to go to 3 because there are occasions where if your opponent goes to 1 life, I just end up charging this. If they're at 1 life, it's never going to be relevant. I would like to go to 3 if I could find the room, but the problem is it really hurts the consistency given it's 1, it's red if you're running the Vegito combo. 2, you can't mill it with your leader skill. You're basically only ever going to combo it off. It's still really necessary. Turns your 30Ks into 40K double strikes. Turns your leader swing into a double strike. It's just really important for you to help close games. It works really well with Mirror Creator Absorbed. It works really well with the Bardock dual attacker. Obviously, it's just for the battle, but if they have 3 life, you swing once, they take it, you swing again, you chomp a double strike, and it's a really strong card. I'd run 2 to 3 personally. For my negate package, 4 power burst. It's the sparking negate. You basically don't ever want to spend energy for this. You want to save it for and use your life as the cost because you don't have a lot of defense when you're tapped out with this deck. For your energy negates, I've got 2 Times Judgment and 2 Petrification. Times Judgment is a card that everyone's forgotten about, but it's excellent. It's a negate, and you can place 2 cards from your hand in the drop area to add it back to your hand. So you negate, drop 2, comes back to your hand. So really, it's like a 1-card recycle to add it back. I had tried Max Power Kamehameha in my testing, but my issue was with Max Power, it forced me to warp all the cards from my drop, and then I didn't have any cards left to do my other skills. So for this, let's say I have 2 0+0 combo cards in my hand and I'm unawakened at 5 life. My opponent swings with a double striker or swings with a crit. I can Times Judgment, drop 2 cards that have 0 combo power anyway, grab Times Judgment back to my hand. It's important in matchups where your opponent's going to swing at you with really big cards. For example, in the mirror, I would much rather spend an energy, drop 2 zeros, and bring it back to my hand than combo 6 cards out of my hand to defend a 30k Dark Broly. Petrification, really important card against 2 matchups, Broly BR and Gotenks. So with Petrification, if your leader card's black, you negate, then you drop a card from your hand into the drop area and choose one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier. It can attack, be placed in your opponent's combo areas, or activate skills until the end of your next turn. So it shuts off a card for 2 turns. Really important. Kill swap. You play it, your opponent can't swap with that card anymore. Stops the dual attacker Gotenks. It stops a lot of big cards. If you have an energy up and they try and sell Zeno swing on you, you petrify it. Now he's not going to get the 2nd swing off. It's really, really good. I think every black deck should be running 2 petrifications in this format. My last 2 cards are 2 Dark Brolys. 2 Super Saiyan Broly Rampaging Monstrosity Unisons. This is something that I debate taking out of the deck, but there are just so many situations where you can play it and it's good value. And this deck doesn't run a lot of turn 1 plays. It's basically Toa, 1-drop Broly into the Dark Ball, into a 6-drop, or this. Those are basically your only turn 1 plays. What's nice is you can sit on him, and if your opponent attacks it, it just takes pressure off your leader, because you really don't want to get swung on too much with your leader in this deck, and your opponent's going to ignore your 30k battle cards. What frequently happens, I was running this at 3 before and I saw it a little too much, but if I have both of these in my hand, I'll play it for 1, stuff 1 underneath to plus it to 2, then activate main to plus it, so it's now at 3 markers and it can swing. or even if you play it for 2 energy and +1, it can swing that turn. It's basically another card that can get around Violent Rays, that can get around Flying Nimbus, and just give you more options. The -4, if you can get it off, is also really strong. It lets you place up to 8 black battle cards with 30,000 power from your warp and your drop, and then your leader gets 15k. So you can swing with him when he's got 3 markers or when he's got 4 markers. Stuff one underneath, -4. You're going to be able to play probably 2 more Broly's off of that, and your leader's going to get 15k. So now your leader's a 25k that you can swing with, or 30k you can swing with. It's I've had one situation where I hard casted it for 4, swung and then did the -4. That was against a deck where I didn't have a hand size, but I think situationally it's really good, and you probably should be running 2, at least tested it 2 and see if you like it. There are other unisons that are good for the deck as well, but so far I'm really liking this one. That's pretty much the deck list. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or you want to see me do a video where I talk about some playlines with the deck, just let me know. But till then, keep balling.